Hello, we are back again. Chapter 14 of Freak the Mighty, Cross My Heart and Hope to Die. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I do believe we have another interview following the reading of this chapter. Graham lets me stay home the next day because Freak is getting out of the hospital, and I'm right on the front step when the fair Gwen pulls up in her car. Freak is riding in the back. You can barely see him in the window, and he's got this big grin that makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. The way everybody keeps saying. I go, "Is it okay if I carry him inside?" And the Frigwin says, "Oh, of course." "He has to rest," she says. "He stays in this house until I say different. Is that understood?" In his room, Freak is right away ordering me around, bring me this and go do that, and you'd never guess he'd been sick. "Minor incident," he says. "Easily corrected by biogenic intervention." "You mean that robot stuff?" Freak goes, "Shh! The fair Gwen must not know of the plan. The very idea strikes fear into her heart." "Well, it is pretty scary," I say. "Getting an operation to give you a whole new body?" "Well, I'm not scared," Freak says. "I'm looking forward to it." "Well, so when does it happen?" Freak gets this faraway look and he says, "I'm not sure. Dr. Spivak, she's my doctor, she says maybe a year or two." "But how come you need a new body?" I asked. "How come you can't just stay like you are?" Freak shakes his head like he knows I'm not smart enough to understand. "No one stays like they are," he says. "Everybody's always changing. My problem is I'm growing on the inside but not the outside." He doesn't want to talk about it anymore, which is fine by me. And in another couple of days, everything is back to normal, and we're going to school like always. And everything is going real good until Christmas vacation, when, if you'll excuse the expression, all hell breaks loose. I'm in the down under trying to get the stupid wrapping paper to cover the stupid presents I got for Graham and Graham when this shouting starts upstairs. Understand, Grim never yells at Graham, not that I can ever remember, and Graham, well, the worst thing she ever does is cry when she's mad. But somebody sure is yelling up there, so I sneak upstairs, and I don't even have to put my ear to the door, that's how loud it is. "Over my dead body, you will!" That's Graham yelling, and her voice is so big and full of tears. Graham's voice isn't nearly as loud, and I opened the door a crack to hear whatever it is that made Graham so mad at him. "I have an obligation," he's saying. "A man has to protect his family." "But not with a gun!" Graham yells. "Not in this house. Oh, I won't have it. I just can't stand it. How can they do this? How could they?" "He fooled them," Grim is saying, "just like he fooled Annie, just like he fooled us once upon a time. Never again, though. That man tries to step foot in this house, I aim to shoot him." "No guns," Graham says. "You don't know about guns." "Of course I do. I was in the army, wasn't I?" "But that was 30 years ago." "I know what will happen. Don't you think I've dreamt about it for the last 8 years? He'll come in here and he'll take the gun away from you, then he'll do the shooting." By now I've figured out who they're talking about, and I guess you have too. None other than him, Killer Kane, my father. "Well, maybe they won't let him out," Graham is saying. "If they do, they'll give us protection." "Oh, sure they will," Grim says, "just like they protected our Annie." Next thing, Graham is crying, and you can tell Grim is trying to make her feel better, going, There, my dear, there, I know." A little while later, I hear the stellar stairs creaking. It's Grim, and he knocks on my door. "Come on in." Grim comes inside, and for once he doesn't tell me what a rat hole I'm living in or how it smells like a locker room because I forgot to put my socks in the hamper. He sits on the edge of the bed, folds his hands together. I never think about how old he is because he never acts old. But tonight, he's all white and bent and his skin is saggy. He's about 1,000 years old and he says, "I guess you heard the ruckus. Your grandma gets so upset, bless her heart. Can't abide by the idea of violence. Can't say I blame her." Did he escape?" I ask. "Is that what happened?" Grim shakes his head. "Oh, he's up for parole." "Oh, that's dumb. That's so dumb." Grim goes, "You hit the nail on the head, son. What I did do, just so you know, I went to court to make sure that he would not be allowed within 1 mile of this house. If he does try to come here, they'll send him back to prison. The judge promised me that much. I say, maybe you should get a gun. Grim doesn't say anything for quite a while, and then he goes, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Can't tell your grandma about it, though. And it breaks my heart to lie to her. That's one thing we've never done. I won't tell. Grim is quiet again, and he stands up from my bed in this real old, tired voice. He says, oh, everything's gonna be okay, Max. I'll make sure of it. But for the next few days, I want you to stay in the house. Promise me you'll do that? Cross my heart, I say. Cross my heart and hope to die. All right, so we actually have the judge right here who let Killer Kane up for parole, and we want to have an interview with him because I just don't understand it, Judge. Why would you let someone as nasty as Max's father get out of jail? Well, you see here, when he came to the parole board, he basically stated that he was a changed man, and he's had good behavior over the last 8-10 years or so. So we're letting him out. That's it, Judge. You're letting him out because he had good behavior, and you're not worried at all about what he did in the past. What did he do, by the way? Well, we're not really allowed to say here on the interview, but I will say this. I do believe that I am in full faith that he is a changed man and he's okay to leave. Now, can you please explain for those kids who may not know what parole is? What does that mean? Oh, yes, most certainly. Parole, what happens when you're on parole is you're in jail and you actually get to go out of jail and live a life of a normal civilian. However, you do have to report to a parole officer, usually once a week, and make sure that you're doing good, and they check up on you. And if you do actually bad things again, you get put right back in jail. So you're willing to risk everything for this one guy, this parole officer, to watch Max's dad outside of prison? Well, yes, I am. Okay, you heard right there, folks. The parole officer is okay with Max's dad, a.k.a. Killer Kane, a.k.a. him, leaving prison to live the life of a normal civilian. Now, we are also making sure that we know that there is a restriction. He cannot come within 1 mile of Max's house, and I sure hope that he abides by that rule, because that would just be tragic if he broke that law. Anyways, we are time is up here for chapter 14. I know that you are looking forward to chapter 15. So have a wonderful day, and we will have to see what happens next. But we're closing out for now. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're reading this message. We are closing the interview.